Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest on Storm Owen, which is now clearing out to our northeast. We did see winds as expected in excess of 100 miles per hour across many parts of the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Northern England. Peak gusts, I think at the moment I've seen recorded, are up to 114 miles per hour, and fortunately it is now starting to clear. We still do have an amber warning in force, but the conditions will be slowly subsiding over the coming hours. As we head into Saturday afternoon, things should start to clear up and it actually turns a little bit more settled. We'll look at the latest weather warnings, as we do still have rain and wind warnings issued, and even some snow warnings issued as well, as it is pretty cold during this weekend. But there is a risk through Sunday into Monday for the risk of another named storm coming in from the southwest. We'll look at that in detail on the latest UKV, arpege and icon runs. We do have preliminary yellow warnings issued for that potential disruption. At the moment though, still a lot of discrepancy in the exact development of that low. There's a very low chance it gets anywhere near as close as the strength of Owen, but Owen is one of the strongest storms we've seen in many decades, so yeah, we could see something much weaker than that and still see another named storm. So that potential is still there into early next week as this stormy spell does continue. However, we will have a look at the longer range in the final portion of the video. Skim through it quite quickly, as of course we want to focus on the immediate impacts of the weather, but we're seeing encouraging signs of higher pressure potentially building in for early February. So if you are already sick of this stormy conditions, settled weather could be returning once again within a week or so, and that will be very delightful for early February. Could be frosty and foggy, but dry. That's what a lot of runs are starting to now show. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. And remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. To start on the live radar, you can see Storm Owen is now clearing out to our northeast, but we've still got all that heavy rain and heavy snow on the southern flank of the system, piling in for parts of northern Scotland. The strongest winds did subside a good few hours ago now, recording this around 9 PM, but we still have gusts in excess of 70 or 80 miles per hour, still exceptionally strong and still could cause disruption, but the peak has now passed. Fortunately, the peak wasn't at the top end of models, and it wasn't above what some models were showing. It was around the middle to bottom end of the spectrum. So we did see wind gusts in excess of 100 miles per hour, and I did see reports across the Republic of Ireland up to 114 miles per hour. But fortunately, we didn't see the 120, 130 that some runs were showing. So that is one good thing. But still, 100 mile per hour plus gusts, widespread 80 to 90, yeah, has caused significant disruption. I've already seen 1 million homes and businesses without power, massive disruption to infrastructure. And I think we'll just find out in the next sort of 24 hours or so just the impact of this system's cleanup work does start. But if you were impacted, I hope everything did go all right in the end, and I do hope that you did take the necessary precautions to stay safe out there. Now at the moment, as I said, Owen is now clearing, but we do have rain on its back edge, and we've got two areas of interest. We've got this area, of course, across Scotland. This is actually the southern flank of the centre of the low. All this precipitation streaming in from the west, really squally, still very strong winds, as I said, 70, 80 mile per hour gusts still through this evening. And you can see blizzards over central Scotland and over the higher ground. Now further southwards, we're actually starting to pull in a pretty cold polar maritime air mass. And that's going to mean over the weekend, temperatures don't get much above the mid-single digits. And it means in this small area of precipitation, this small feature that's on the flow with the jet stream at the moment, we are seeing a bit of snow over the higher ground. Again, could turn increasingly more to snow over the coming hours as this does spread eastwards. But it's just this feature along the main low-pressure track, of course, Owen centred to our north. It's kind of sat out towards the Shetland Islands now. That's where the centre is. And it is slowly weakening as it does clear away. As I said, the strongest winds were down here towards Galway, County Clare. This is the area where we saw those strongest winds earlier this morning, and they slowly spread across parts of the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, Northern England, the Isle of Man, and Scotland. Now, if you look at the temperatures at the moment, you can see it is starting to turn much colder from the west, as we do start to see that very cold polar maritime air mass getting pulled in from the west by the jet stream. And if we do just have a look at the latest mean winds, these are not the gusts, but mean winds, you can already see where it is still exceptionally strong across northern Scotland, especially over the higher ground there and towards coastal areas, still seeing sustained winds here of 50, 60 or even 70 miles per hour, and gusts will, as I said, be a few tens of miles per hour stronger than that. Those areas massively affected further southwards across Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, Northern England and Southern Scotland. It is now starting to die down and conditions should improve drastically into Saturday. Now, if you go over to NetWeather, these are the max gusts on their website. Of course, this doesn't cover every single weather station, and of course, doesn't cover every single gust. Of course, gusts have to happen at specific weather stations, and of course, not everywhere is captured by weather stations, and especially some of the areas that got hit by the strongest winds today don't have that great density of weather stations. So it means that, of course, there probably were stronger gusts not captured. But you can see here just an array of weather stations here, 80 to 90 miles per hour, and then you see those peak ones getting above 100, and as I said, other stations not included here got above 110. So as I said, pretty much as expected, maybe slightly weaker than some of the runs we were looking at yesterday, which is a good thing, of course, but it is now slowly clearing away. Also, one thing I want to look at is the min air pressure. As I said, the runs were showing it getting down to 936 millibars out towards the coastal parts of Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland. You can see here at 4 a.m. in Balmullet, which is right on the far northwest coast of the Republic of Ireland, down towards 940 millibars, just showing you that the models were pretty much bang on, probably was slightly deeper just out to sea. So yeah, it was very well modelled by the runs this storm, which is a good thing, as it meant those warnings were accurate, and it did mean that we did know what was going to happen, and it did, as I said, play out as expected. Now, due over to the latest weather warnings, we still have numerous warnings issued. We've got still a widespread wind warning. Again, it's, bog standard for 60, 70 miles per hour. We do still have a yellow snow warning issued here, expiring at midnight for parts of northern Scotland. Again, looking at significant snow over the highest ground, as we saw from the live radar. Some more slushy mixing towards low-lying areas. We've got a snow and ice warning here for Northern Ireland, again for lots of snow showers packing in as that polar maritime air mass really gets going. And then finally, we've got an amber warning here issued until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning for those continual back edge winds from Storm Owen for 60 to 70 widely, 70 to 80 in a few spots, 80 to 90 in a few other locations. I thought the red warning could be extended further northwards, and it was extended slightly further northwards early this morning, but not quite as far northwards as I was fearing, as some runs did have those exceptionally strong winds lasting all the way through to this evening. But as I said, Owen has turned out to be slightly weaker than most of the runs. Not by much, by 5 to 10 miles per hour, which, in the grand scheme of things isn't that major. But it has meant that it has subsided slightly faster than I thought was kind of the worst case scenario yesterday. Into Saturday, still got all those warnings issued further north, and then we've got an ice warning issued further southwards across much of England. And again, this is for that precipitation that is clearing through, as we saw on the live radar. Temperatures will fall rapidly overnight once that clears, and there could be the risk of ice. But apart from that, Saturday, a fairly mundane day. Into Sunday, though, warnings issued. Now, at the moment, these warnings haven't been updated in a good day or two. But I suspect they will be updated as we head into Saturdays. All the focus, of course, has been on Owen. Look at the rain warning issued from 8 a.m. on Sunday morning until 6 a.m. on Monday for very heavy rain. Again, looking at potentially an inch or a couple of inches. And again, there's risk of some thunderstorms developing as we do see this really intense localised area of low pressure. Got stronger wind warnings issued further westwards as well. Yellow warning at the moment, 50 to 60, maybe up to 70. And you see it's very likely medium impact or low impact at the moment. But there is scope for improvement in this warning, or increase in this warning, is a better phrase. But as I said, hasn't been updated here since Thursday morning. So over 24 hours, 36 hours now really. But I do suspect we'll see an upgrade or update at least into tomorrow. And then Monday, still got this big rain warning issued. But as I said, the risk of another further named storm there, Sunday into Monday. These are sort of preliminary warnings covering the risk of that. But as we'll see now from the latest UKV, uncertainty is massive as we do head into early next week with lots of storm systems potentially moving in. But there is a lot of uncertainty exactly how quickly they move in and what systems actually do get in. And they see through this evening, snow continues in some of these precipitation bands, but it slowly clears through the evening. And we see the temperatures falling away, and Owen does clear very quickly into the early hours of Saturday. But lots of heavy showers continue to push in. For much of Saturday, though, it's pretty dry, with a bit of showers pushing in from the west again, wintry in nature in a few spots. And then as we head into Sunday, we start to see the risk of another named storm arriving. At the moment, we just see some very heavy rain, but watch out for this hook as we do head through Sunday into Monday. This area of low pressure could cause some big issues. At the moment, we only think maybe 50, 60, 70 miles per hour within it, but given the intensity and small scale of this system, it's very difficult to forecast. The risk is even is potentially higher for this to change and upgrade. But this system moves through bringing very heavy rain, so perhaps could be more of a rain event plus wind, whereas Owen was mainly a wind event. And this does slowly head northwards, and we see lots of heavy, blustery showers, and then again, potentially for another big storm system moving in from the west. As I said, it's very difficult to forecast because we will look at the arpege and icon runs in a minute, and they do all show slightly different scenarios. If you look at the mean sea level pressure, you can see into Monday, we see that low developing rapidly there through Monday morning, clearing, and then see another low clearing through, and it just remains really unsettled there all the way into the middle of the week. As said, though, we are pretty cold. Upper air temperatures, look at this, generally are well below average over the coming days and remain fairly average to below average all the way into the middle of next week, as we've got a lot of cold air in the North Atlantic fueling these storms, but also heading our way, meaning it's going to be pretty chilly. And if you look at the max temperatures into Saturday, a frost in a few spots into the morning, especially further westwards. And by the afternoon, mid-single digits at best, even low single digits in a few spots. Into Sunday, another frost developing in many areas. And into the afternoon, again, really cold, low single digits, maybe mid-single digits at best. And then into Monday, milder overnight with that low moving through, but into the afternoon again, mid to high single digits. And then finally into Tuesday and Wednesday, similar mid to high single digits, as we do start to see slightly milder air moving in. But it's still chilly, so temperatures, not getting much above those sort of 7-8 degree mark. And then we look at the wind gusts, you can see Storm Owen clearing away. Still, as I speak, 80, 90 mile per hour gusts are possible, but they do disintegrate very quickly overnight, back down to kind of 40, 50 into Saturday morning. And then for much of Saturday, it's gusty in the west, but nothing too crazy. And then look at Sunday, winds pick up during the morning with the heavy rain that moves in, 50, 60, maybe a few 70s out there. And then it's when that low arrives in the far south, we could see, again, 60, 70, maybe even 80 as that system moves in. And again, it could be very lively where it clears through. And then further into Monday and Tuesday, more very strong winds. But again, it's massive uncertainty how strong these winds get and how far they travel inland, as it doesn't look quite as clear cut with the track of these lows through Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. It looks much more mixed exactly where they do go. And we can see that. But look at the latest icon. We will just have a look at the wind gusts, as of course that is the main risk from these systems at the moment. Of course, we'll cover precipitation in the next day or two. But I just wanted to emphasise how much uncertainty there is with these wind speeds. You see the winds clear away once again through Saturday. And do remember these darker blacks and greys. This is the intensity of Owen earlier this afternoon. As we head into Sunday, you can see some greys and blacks, but nowhere near as widespread. And they don't spread anywhere near as far inland from this next system through Sunday into Monday. And again, you can see the small scale of that system into Monday morning. Exceptionally strong winds for central England there. You're seeing winds in excess of 60, 70 miles per hour, which in the grand scheme of things compared to Owen isn't that significant. For parts of central southern England, that could really pack a punch and cause significant disruption in areas that don't normally see those sort of wind speeds. And then look at this system, really strong winds on its southern flank, but they do weaken quite significantly as they do move inland. Still warning worthy, still potentially even named storm worthy, but you can see nowhere near as intense as Owen. And then another system really rapidly develops there on Wednesday, but again, uncertainty exactly whether that moves towards us. Here, it looks like it heads southwards towards the Bay of Biscay instead of onto Republic of Ireland and England. So yeah, lots more intense systems arriving Sunday, Monday, even Tuesday and Wednesday. But yeah, a lot of uncertainty in their exact track and their positioning. One thing we can say for certain, we're not looking at a similar event to Owen. Definitely does look like a few levels below if we do see another named storm. But regardless, still could cause issues. And of course, for areas further southwards where we're not quite as prepared for these sort of winds. And finally, for the short range, if we look at the latest arpege, Owen clearing through. You see again more stronger winds there with that next system arriving through Sunday. And then again, winds really picking up once again, but not as high there into Monday morning. So not as much of a developed system there. So yeah, arpege not really developing that system as much, but still very strong winds for Southern Ireland, southwest England. And then again, a pickup of winds there into Tuesday as that low clears through. And then another strong low pressure system there just waiting in the wings. So again, not guaranteed, but definitely looks like you see further stormy weather into the start of next week, and again at the risk of another potential named storm. You see in the bottom right, max winds looking again potentially 80, 90 or even 100 miles per hour once again. Most likely though more out to sea, but those sort of winds can still cause disruption, especially further southwards, where as I said, we're not built for these sorts of conditions at all. Now, do finish by looking at the longer range. Again, we'll whiz through this quite quickly, as I know we are concentrating on that short range, stormy weather. You can see Owen clearing, and then further storm systems developing within this big mother low there on Monday. Again, massive uncertainty with how intense that will be. Potentially another little system moving through there into Wednesday and Thursday, but we lose this intensity quite quickly. And that's because high pressure builds in, and look at this, out into the longer range, high pressure firmly builds in, tries to pull an easterly flow in, but doesn't have much success, and just generally, as we do head into the first full week of February, it's fine and dry, because it's still winter, it still probably would be chilly, low single digits overnight, if not towards freezing, and as I said, mid to high single digits during the day. So it wouldn't be mild, but it wouldn't be freezing cold like a bitterly cold easterly wind, but it would be very dry. Again, if we look at the precipitation, very minimal precipitation at all, nothing touching mainland, England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, Wales, nothing at all. It is bone dry here. Into the first week of February. Now, after you have a look at the GM, again, wind clearing through, more storm systems there into the early part of next week. Another system tries to move through there on Thursday. Looks a bit more lively, that for southwest England, but gets squeezed away. High pressure builds in, develops right at the top of us, and tries to pull in slack easterly winds. It actually looks pretty mild at the upper air temperatures, but again, if you do look at the surface, you can see it is pretty chilly, actually only low single digits with that easterly flow. So cold, but as I said, look at this. Bone dry, a few odd showers and a bit of cloud maybe moving in, but really nothing too bad at all. And finally, if we finish with the latest ECMWF, again, lots of further storm systems clearing through. That next system arriving, or final system, sorry, arriving there Wednesday to Thursday, and then high pressure building in later on next week, and dominates really all the way out to the end of this run. Yes, low pressure could break through at a few points, but generally high pressure in control. And if we finish, look at this. Latest ensemble is very unsettled for the next kind of 5 or 6 days, pretty much until the end of January, and then it goes quite a bit drier. Not guaranteed to be very dry, but mostly dry. And you see the upper air temperature starting to spike, which is pretty typical, especially in winter, of a big high pressure system building in. So as I said, could be dry, fine, but potentially frosty and foggy. And we have a look at the sea level pressure, very low there later on through Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, and then rising significantly into the longer term. As I said, it's been very stormy in the north with Owen, but it does look like the next few days that stormy conditions will be focused further southwards. Still in the west, unfortunately, but further southwards, as the storm track does look like it is going to be heading just that little bit further southwards as well. And finally, if we finish by looking at the latest ECMWF ensembles, broadly very similar, pretty unsettled over the coming days, and then a slow rise in temperature and dry conditions there, pretty much as we flip into February, as we do look likely to see that high pressure system building in. You can see again, looking very dry there, and with big high pressure there into the longer term. So yes, we've got a lot of stormy weather to continue to deal with over the coming days. The risk of another named storm, or maybe multiple named storms, Sunday through to Wednesday. We'll have to keep a close eye on it. But fortunately, later on next week, high pressure is building back in, so we can see a complete role reversal. And hopefully, things do look a little bit better there for the start of February. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope everyone has stayed safe. Make sure you keep up to date with those weather warnings. And of course, keep up to date with the videos. And I'll see you again for another video soon.